last week there was this big to-do about this call between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, and at some point, supposedly, President Trump said, "You're effing crazy." He said to Netanyahu. Now you know how these guys are, right? It's two guys, two leaders, and they're talking. We should do this. We should do this. And one leader says to the other, "Dude, man, you're effing crazy." It doesn't mean like you're effing crazy. It just means, bro, you're effing crazy. That's crazy. We can't do it that way. But the media blew it up. And here's Prime Minister Netanyahu explaining this discussion that Trump and Netanyahu had.
Let's talk about the call that you had with him this week, which is getting a lot of attention. The president confirmed that he said you're effing crazy. How did you react to that? What really happened in that call?
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands, well, a lot of them. And if you think this is a crisis, you should be in some other conversations. But we've always found a way. We have so many agreements. We agree on the main things. We want to get Iran, the nuclear program in Iran, finished. We want to make sure that Iran doesn't pose a threat to Israel, to the Middle East, to America, that it doesn't develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, not only to Israel and to every capital in Europe, but to every city in the United States. That's our common goal. That's what we set out to do. And to expand the circle of peace, as the president and I did in the Abraham Accords together. So we have common goals. Sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements. We always find a way to work them out. And we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon we have we're common action.
So I was going to say.
Okay, so you know what? I believe Prime Minister Netanyahu in this case. He's like, yeah, you should have been in some other calls. You know, you think that President Trump doesn't throw the F-bomb around? You think that he doesn't sometimes get angry or be like, no, there's no effing way we can do that, right? I'm sure he does. And like the media made such a thing out of this. I totally believe Prime Minister Netanyahu when he says like, listen, we had a discussion. We didn't see eye to eye or something. And you know, the president said what he said. I'm pretty sure that Netanyahu doesn't throw the F-bomb around. But who knows? Bottom line is, you know, an exaggerated representation of a divide that's not there. There's a guy on the internet, you know, white supremacist, misogynist, anti-Jewish, anti-black, but not stupid. His name is Nick Fuentes. And Nick, when I say not stupid, okay, he's not stupid usually, but in this case, what a bunch of stupidity did he unleash. Silly, 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 silly. Just such silliness. Silliness squared. Silliness, you know, with no like no humor and just no self-doubt and just such a wrong-headed analysis. Let's take a look and we'll edit it out in post, but there's some F-bombs here, as is the unhinged, you know, when people who don't care about family values sometimes throw out unnecessary curses. Here's what Nick Fuentes, how he understood the discussion between President Trump and Netanyahu.
Is reporting that Trump had a very terse phone call with Netanyahu. Trump called him up and he let him have it. Trump said, what the f*** are you doing? You're invading Lebanon. You're going to make everyone hate Israel. How?
Already you could see the mistake. It's as though two world leaders, as though Trump is yelling at Netanyahu. Who said that? And who said it was so tense? It was probably much more like I described it, like that's effing crazy. Don't do that. It's much more like that than this. Like, okay, he's yelling at him, because I want to tell you something. That's Nick Fuentes' inner world. That's his world. His world is about power and supremacy and cursing down on other people. And that's the way he views the world. He's pushing down because he thinks people want to push down on him. He lives this mental world is a reflection of his inner self. Okay. He thinks that way. That's the way he thinks the world is. He thinks that Trump called Netanyahu and he was bashing him down.
How could you do this? I got you out of jail. You owe me. And then this.
You see that? It's all about like, you owe me, not while we're two leaders pushing our countries together. It's all about power. His whole, and this is a Nietzschean outlook. And I promise you that Fuentes is a type of Nietzschean. He thinks that it's all about dog eat dog. One dog is more powerful than the next dog, and turtles all the way down type of thing. And it's all about suppression and who can suppress, and am I empowered? Who are you? Are you undermining my power? That's his whole world outlook, because that's his inner emotional outlook. It's a projection. Okay. And I saved you from jail. You owe me.
Story about the conversation was planted in the press today. And we are all supposed to believe that Trump is very unhappy with Netanyahu.
No, we're not. No, we're not all supposed to believe that. You believe that. But we're not supposed to believe that. They just had a conversation where they were using expletives as men of power do. I don't believe that for a second. You created that narrative. You want to broadcast the Axios story in that way.
And you know what is the punchline about this? This is exactly what Joe Biden did throughout 2024 when the genocide was ongoing in Gaza, when it was the...
This is when I lose respect for people like Nick Fuentes. I don't mind that you're a combatant, but I just think of you as a guy who would not repeat the stupidity of the genocide, blood libel, false claim. You cause me to disrespect you more when I just think of you as a guy who wouldn't mouth those stupid lies that are so easily disproven by the thousands of videos that you have of markets in Gaza open and restaurants, pop-up restaurants, and on the other side, the Hamas killing their own people. That's the truth. You're going to mouth now the Israeli genocide narrative. That's just below you, in my opinion.
Most intense that it ever was. Biden was begging Netanyahu to stop. Please stop killing them. Please, it's ruining my presidency. Please, you're costing us the election. And Netanyahu refused. Netanyahu was taking foreign aid with both hands, and then he was doing whatever he wanted to do. So what Biden
was trying to stop Israel from fighting a just war. And Netanyahu had to keep fighting that war because we had terrorists who had just done a wholesale murder on our people, and we had to push them back. Biden was not pro-Israel. Biden was stopping armament shipping to Israel. Biden he was part of the Iranian nuclear deal under Obama. Biden is a combatant. Biden wants to shrink Israel. Okay, so that's what Biden did, and Netanyahu courageously had to keep fighting a war.
Do in response is he would leak these types of stories, exactly this, to the Washington Post. And so every month you would get a story. Biden and Netanyahu had a very bad phone call.
Now I believe that, right? Because Biden and Netanyahu were on opposite sides, and Netanyahu couldn't wait until Biden got out of office. Remember that? He was just praying for the day that Trump would get into office. By the way, I just want to say parenthetically, right? I want Israel to act independently and for its own interests. In this case, when we have a just war against Iran, it's good for both of our nations, but I think Israel should defend itself for its own sakes. Okay, but now Fuentes is going to take this narrative that he's weaved about Netanyahu and Biden and how Biden could not overcome Netanyahu, but they were literally at odds. He's going to bring that into the Trump-Netanyahu story.
Biden said, listen up, Jack. We are not happy. And this just goes to show the impotence of the United States. We can do nothing. This is all we can do to Israel. Israel is 100% dependent on us.
What happened there? I missed it. What did you say about 100% dependent on us? I missed it. Where did that come from? If you listen to Fuentes and other times, he'll be like, no, Israel's very powerful. The Jews are very powerful. They're ancient. And now suddenly we're totally dependent on them. We have a very important global partnership with the United States. And today the United States is, one of the great superpowers, and we're very blessed to be aligned with them. Although parenthetically, let's be honest, ever since we got the alignment with the United States, we haven't won a war, right? The United States aligned with Israel after the 6-Day War and basically caused us to lose a string of wars or not win, basically. We continue to survive. And yet we have also blessings, especially economic blessings with partnership with the United States. But this idea of dependence is a hater narrative. Israel is an independent country. Israel has partnerships, but we are an independent country. And by the way, notice that other independent countries do what they want as well. Ukraine, Russia, they have their conflict. And, nobody's able to stop that because they have their problems, their issues. Israel continues to fight with Gaza. The pressure that was put on us to relinquish land to the Palestinian Authority and to Hamas is what caused this. And now finally we're cleaning up the mess that American policy forced upon us, which is to give up land, to believe in the lie of land for peace. And it's American influence that has caused this war. And now Prime Minister Netanyahu had to tell Biden, listen, we got to fight this war now. We got to clean up this awful mess. We've allowed Gaza to turn into the front of Hamas, and we should have never listened to you throughout all these years. Biden has been an avowed Israel shrinker his whole career. Now we have to fight this war and clean up the mess because of your bad policies. But again, now watch how Fuentes, again, he's a Nietzschean. It's all about power and control. Here's how he spins it around.
We are fighting their wars. Our president is doing personal and political favors for this government, and we cannot get them to do anything. Our economy is about to fucking explode. We're talking about gas shortages in September. Okay? We are running out of fuel. It's over. It's already over.
You want fuel? Take control of the Iranian regime depot fuel. Okay. By the way, America, #1 producer of energy. There's no reason to run out of fuel. Open it up, make it a little bit more costly, but you can help a lot of people have a lot of jobs in America by buying American oil and gas. It might be a little bit more expensive. It might be shale oil, whatever it is, but there's no shortages that need to happen. America, #1 producer of oil and gas. And if you want to control the Straits of Hormuz, do that. Take control of the shipping lanes, control world oil. This is your great opportunity. What are you talking about? Israel and America's war against Iran is about control of energy. It could be about control of energy if more was done to control that energy. How are you seeing that the fight against Iran, which is a global terrorist power with a lot of control about energy export, how is pushing them back hurting the United States? It's the opposite. In the long run, it's a blessing for the United States and certainly a blessing for Israel.
Even if the strait opens tomorrow, it's over. The economy's crashing. We're running out of gas. This is what we have to resort to. We have to go and gossip to Axios, which is like a third-rate public. I read it every day. And I know some people there, some of the journalists there talk to me, and some of them are okay. But this is not even like the Washington Post. It's not the Journal. You're talking to Axios saying, hey, could you guys tell everybody that Netanyahu is not cool?
No, bro, that's not at all how it happened. Axios, it has reporters that have an axe to grind with Israel, and they're looking to spin stories. This story that you're talking about is an exaggeration. This story is not the way it went down. And you saw Netanyahu's face. He's like, no, that's not how it went down at all. And the reason that you're doing this whole thing about Axios is because you're trying to besmirch Israel, who you hate, who you have a problem with, who you're afraid of because of your weird Nietzschean mind and other issues that you have in your personal life. You have these fears against the godly country and against the future of Israel, which you sense is going to be glorious, but you hate. And now you're taking the story and exploding it, out of proportion.
Trump and his aides are calling up Axios.
Do you think that aides like what? Like Marco Rubio? Like what? Like Pete Hegseth? Like Huckabee? Like who are his aides that are calling up Axios? If aides are calling up Axios, it's probably the more anti-Israel wing of the White House, which is trying to stir trouble and make tension between Trump and Netanyahu on a global scale. but it's not Trump's people. It's not his good people. It's probably some element that's anti-Israel, if that's true. But in any case, I think the whole thing is just an exaggeration, which this guy's harping on purpose.
Hey, listen, you got to.
Susie says, I cannot see the mass appeal of this guy to younger folks. Susie, it's simple. It's simple. It's about power. It's about some kind of like, it's about fetishism. It's about hating other people and talking about how bad other people are is a way that you gain legitimacy and power for yourself. It's about a lack of self-confidence. It's about like incels yelling at everybody. And he is a type of, he's an angry young man type of thing. There's clearly personal issues there as well. And here he is, hating is very powerful. Never forget that. Hate is a very powerful thing in this world. And I'm not here to preach love, love, love. I think that evil has to be hated. Okay. But in this case, he's blowing up the hate. Then he's like, look, the Trump administration have to go to Axios to no. Axios tries to find hate, which you use. That's the real truth. All right, let's finish up with the Nick Fuentes.
Get the word out. Trump and Netanyahu are not cool. They just had a very bad phone call. It is not okay. Because we can do nothing else. We can't take their money. We can't
take our money. Israel's been a blessing for the United States, and the Jewish people have been a blessing for the United States in so many ways. In so many ways. I heard once a podcast about all the various ways that the Jewish people have contributed to American society, from even things like, from entertainment, sports, technology, financial. Like, actually, the Jewish people have been a massive blessing. And this guy, along with Tucker and Candace, are actually a force to undermine the blessings of the United States by introducing this hate against the Jewish people. That's the truth. He is a force against the blessings of the United States. He's against Israel, but at the end, it actually will undermine the blessing of the United States, and it's sad. And he purports himself to be some kind of pro-American guy, or America first. He's not. He really wants to bury America, and it's all about this Nietzschean, which is at the end, Third Reichian way of looking at this world, which is at the end is self-destructive.
Them. We can't put a blockade on their economy.
Why would you want to blockade Israel's economy? How stupid is that? How stupid! Just the words itself is it's just retarded. Like, what's wrong with you? Why would you want for a second to put a blockade on Israel's economy? That's like blocking one of your best trading partners.
All we could do is bitch on the phone to this guy and then tell the press. That's the dynamic.
For a guy who's smart, that was a lot of dumbness, really, like a lot of dumbness. I want to remind you folks to like, subscribe, and comment. We are really putting out a lot of great stuff here. When I say like, subscribe, and comment, do it when you hear this right now. Don't do it later. Do it right now. It makes a big difference. All right, yeah, so like, subscribe, and comment makes a big difference, and thank you very much.